Good Yontif. Of late, and apropos of this morning's festival of Shavuot, my thoughts turn to a rabbinic midrash told about the revelation at Mount Sinai, specifically the shattering of the first set of tablets. We know the story. When Moses ascended the mountain to receive the Torah, he stayed there for 40 days and 40 nights. The newly emancipated children of Israel grew restless as they waited for their leader to return, and, needing something to worship, they built the golden calf. When Moses descended the mountain, he saw his people engaged in idolatry, and in a fit of rage, he threw the tablets to the ground, shattering them. A second set of tablets was subsequently constructed and placed in the Ark of the Covenant to accompany the Israelites on their journey forward. But what, the rabbis of the Talmud ask, happened to the shattered fragments of the first set? Were the shards left on top of the mountain? Perhaps, like the golden calf itself, they were destroyed, fragments of a painful memory better left in the past. Some things, no doubt, are better left behind. The rabbis suggest otherwise. Luchot v'shivrei luchot munachim be'aron, states the Talmud. The tablets and the broken tablets side by side in the ark together. The image is a powerful one, as counterintuitive as it is instructive. The same God who performed the miracle of splitting the sea, who brought the plagues upon Egypt, who redeemed the Israelites from their servitude, either could not or would not put the broken pieces of the tablets back together again. As for the Israelites, who could blame them if they thought to wish away the darkest moment of their desert sojourn, if they sought to sweep the shattered remnants of the whole incident under the rug? But that's not what happened, and that's not what they did. They picked up the pieces and they put them in the ark. No shard left behind. They remembered the hurt. They held the pain, even as they put one foot ahead of the other. The shards they carried, step by step, towards the promised land. Some things, wrote Megan Devine, cannot be fixed. They can only be carried. In all my years as a congregational rabbi, nobody has ever reflected to me that they have gotten over or transcended loss. People learn not to fix their brokenness. They carry it with them throughout their lives. For some, many in this room today, the carrying comes by way of ritual, the daily or weekly recitation of Kaddish, the Yizkers, the Yartzites, the memorial candles, our Jewish toolbox that provides us a language to express that which cannot be expressed. For others, the toolbox is different. It's not religious per se. Poetry, art, journaling, exercise, or otherwise, any number of vehicles by which a person learns to carry that which cannot be fixed. Not so much to make sense of loss, but to build a scaffolding by which one can move through its stages. Many, I know, choose to go at it alone. I am the only one who knows what I am going through, who knows and feels as I feel. I can do without the well-meaning but often hurtful, "this too shall pass" platitudes of others. Others, I know, find strength in companionship. My hurt, they say, may be unique to me, but there are others who have lost a spouse, a sibling, a child, a parent, a friend. They are not me, their loved ones are not mine, nor is their hurt, but there is comfort in kinship. We are fellow travelers on a journey of loss, and in my existential loneliness, it's good not to be alone. Nobody can fix me. not even myself. But we all carry loss, and we can all carry each other forward. The other week, a congregant shared with me that she was learning to live in the and. It was an odd turn of a phrase. I had never heard it before. She explained that she was still shattered, and she had to go back to work. She was still mourning, and life could not come to a standstill. She felt herself to be in the shadow of death, and she had to choose life. There's a reason tradition teaches that upon returning home from the cemetery to the Shiva house, one is required to have what is called a Seudat Havra'ah, a meal of consolation. It reminds us that yes, we have lost, and we are still living. We need to eat. The first time in a lifetime of living in the and. I spoke to another congregant this past week on the occasion of the one-year yahrzeit of her loved one. I inquired how she was holding up. She explained that a year out it was actually worse, not better. The reality, the finality of her loved one's passing, more inescapable, more suffocating. And yet she went on to explain all the ways she was honoring the life, not death, of the one for whom she mourned. She too was learning to live in the and. Death she could not explain, and yet she was pressed to find purpose. Some things cannot be fixed. They can only be carried. You know, every Shavuot, we turn our attention to the book of Ruth, the righteous Moabite whose acceptance of Jewish faith becomes a paradigm of our own acceptance of Torah. Traditional as such a reading may be, we do the story a disservice if we miss that the book is as much about trauma as it is about Torah. If we overlook who is arguably the book's primary protagonist, Ruth's mother-in-law, Naomi. Let me explain. Like so many biblical books, this book begins with a journey due to famine in the land. Naomi journeys to Moab with her husband and 2 sons, but by the book's 3rd verse, Naomi's husband is dead, and though her 2 sons marry local Moabite women, by the 5th verse, her sons are dead as well. This entire story will unfold in the wake of inexplicable loss. Naomi returns to her people in Bethlehem, widowed and weathered, and accompanied by her daughter-in-law Ruth. The women of Bethlehem greet her, asking, "Can this be Naomi?" Naomi means pleasant or pleasing. "Do not call me Naomi," she replies. "Call me Mara," as in Maror, because God has made my lot very bitter. If the book of Job seeks to answer why bad things happen to good people, this story seeks to answer when bad things happen to good people. Namely, how will a woman, bereft and embittered, navigate her grief and carry her loss? All of which makes it so very interesting to note that by the end of the book, Naomi's condition has not fundamentally changed. Her husband and sons are still dead. She is still a widow. There is no Hollywood ending. Nothing has been fixed. She is still carrying her grief. But, and this is a parting image of the book, she's also carrying something else, the child born unto Ruth. It's an image that provides not so much resolution, but Naomi's resolve to see beyond the horizon of her heartache. The women's chorus, previously instructed to call her Mara, tellingly refer to her as Naomi. The reader is granted a comforting ending. The child's lineage will lead to King David. But how Naomi feels herself, tellingly, we're never told. Given what she has gone through, I choose to grant Naomi the courtesy of her private sorrows. Ruth marries well, joins the Jewish people, and becomes the great-grandmother to a king. Naomi, not so much. She just presses forward best she can. It's okay, as a title of Divine's book counsels, if she is not okay. Friends, not every cloud has a silver lining. When we arrive at this moment of Yizkor, when we think of those whom we are remembering, the sorrow that their passing has left in our hearts, we are not decidedly okay. I know how lucky I am to have arrived at this stage of life with my parents, my immediate family, all of this world. I have much for which to be grateful. And yet when I think of loved ones no longer living, confidants and congregants taken before their time, taken at all, I'm stopped in my tracks. I think to myself how it is that this world of ours continue to turn, marked as it is by so many missing pieces. And this Shavuot in particular, I think not just of individual souls, but of the soul of our people, the sons and the daughters, the husbands and the wives, the brothers and the sisters whose lives were taken from us on October 7th and continue to be taken from us in defense of Israel. As caring stakeholders in the global Jewish family, this year we are all carrying loss. This year we are all praying for those precious souls and the comfort of their families. This year, no Jew is okay. We are all living in the and. Some here at Yizkor, like Naomi, mourn a spouse or a child. Some a parent, a sibling, a lover, or a friend. Grief, as the saying goes, is a price one pays for love. Here in this room, in this moment, there are no words, no chin up, everything happens for a reason, platitude to assuage our sorrow. We are here merely to find a place to give voice to our sorrow. We are here perhaps to discover that while our sorrow is ours alone, we are not alone. We are here to meditate on the qualities of those loved ones whom we remember, to remind ourselves that the qualities by which they lived can live on in our own lives if we endeavor to make it so. We are here because this year we are all sleepwalking through grief. We are committed to honor the dead by way of choosing life. In the many, many weddings at which I have officiated these past months, I found my thoughts lingering on the final act of every chuppah, the breaking of the glass. The shards beneath the chuppah represent the fragility and the brokenness of the Jewish people, always moving, acutely so since October 7th. And I find myself struck by the fact that the first step a couple takes, just as I have pronounced them to be married, comes by way of those shards. As with the wedding couple, as with the Israelites of old, so too all of us today. We carry the hurt, we hold the pain, and we hold hope for a future that may, in truth, exist beyond any of us. We take a step forward. It is not everything, but it is a place to start. And God knows we are all in need of a place to start. Something shattered, something whole, every step of the way, carrying it forward on our journey to the promised land.